All right, welcome everybody. This is the December 6th Regional Chairs meeting. It is 7:02. Want to welcome all of you this evening, and we'll have others hopefully joining us, and I'll just admit them as we move through the agenda. So I want to open, first of all, with a few announcements. First of all, let me welcome, we've got our Executive Director, Shaitia Sproul, with us tonight, and our Communications and Marketing Director, Ellen Morehouse. They'll be joining us in the second half of the agenda this evening. So let me start by Regional Commission appointments and reappointments updates. Some of you that were in the November cycle are starting to see your appointments coming in, your reappointments coming in. So one of the things I realized, and I am reaching out to reappointments, is I don't know why, and it doesn't really matter. We're going to kind of correct course, but we were missing a lot of addresses, like mailing addresses for our current regional commissioners. So I may be poking some of you to get some addresses of your sitting commissioners, because the appointment letter should have the address on it. So when somebody goes to get sworn in, it has to have a physical address, and that has to match the ID. So just know that as I'm writing up all these letters, I realized we're missing some addresses. So I might be poking some of you for that information. So just to give you a heads up. And then for those of you that are in the December cycle, which is Cape and the Islands, Plymouth County, and Hampshire Franklin, your appointments and reappointment requests are going to go in front of Program and Planning next week. And they're going to review and vote on those and make recommendations to the full commission. So you can expect to hear from me probably, mid-December. So I'll say the 16th, maybe the 19th. You should be hearing from me on approvals, reappointments, and then you'll soon see those reappointment letters and appointment letters go out. So just a heads up for that. Any questions about the reappointments and appointments? So the next thing is Jelly, the Girls Empowerment Leadership Initiative. And just a reminder that event is scheduled for the week of April 18th, and that is spring break week for our schools. And I have reached out to all of you. I think I'm just missing maybe 3 regional commissions. Most of you have gotten back in touch with me with one or two Jelly point people, because we're going to ask the point people to join the planning committee, because we want to make sure the regionals have a seat at the table as we're planning these events. And Amanda, I know off the top of my head, I'll check in with you because I need somebody from your commission. Jackie, I need somebody from Hamden. I'm just kind of looking around the room here. And Marcia, for somebody from Hampshire Franklin. I think the rest of you, I think I have somebody. So just 1 or 2 point people, perhaps recognizing somebody on your commission that is passionate about girls' initiatives. Those are the folks we would like around the table. And I don't want to speak for the planning committee yet, because everything is just in the beginning. But I think we might, and Shaitia, please correct me if I'm saying this wrong, but not only are we looking at the educational components and workshops, we're talking about advocacy, teaching young girls how to advocate for themselves and advocate for legislation. I know Metro West, Julie, your Athena Council's done a phenomenal job with actually advocating and going to Beacon Hill. So that's going to be a pretty big focus of our Jelly program this spring. And then, so it's exciting. And we're hoping, fingers crossed, to have a track at Advocacy Day, which is the next item on the agenda, having a girls advocacy track at Advocacy Day. So the intention for Jelly is to teach our young women and female identifying youth how to do this, and then to invite them to join us May 24th on Beacon Hill for Advocacy Day. So more information will come out, as the Jelly Planning Committee meets and plans, but it's exciting. Jackie, go ahead. Question?
So you said May 24th?
Yes, that is the Advocacy Day, and that is for the regional commissions and for the state commissioners. So we're all going to gather, whoever is available that day from your regional commission, to travel to Beacon Hill. We're going to make a full day of it. So we'll meet in the Great Hall. For those of you that have been in the State House, we tend to meet in the morning. We have breakfast. We have a nice program. I think their regionals that are there can get up and speak for a few minutes. We'll hear from some legislators, and then we'll go out and do our legislative advocacy work. Some people call it lobbying, but our advocacy work with our legislators. And we're very excited to have the girls join us. Yes, go ahead, Jackie.
Since I've been on the commission, obviously it was COVID, so there hasn't been any like lobby day, advocacy day. So question one, how old are the girls? Like, what is the youngest that we would bring with us? 14 to 22. Thank you, Shaitia.
Yep.
And other is, should we be recruiting young women if there is not a specific commissioner to assign to that's passionate about that to do that?
That's a good question, Jackie. Maybe you and I can brainstorm a little bit. I know oh, go ahead, Shaitia. You have a comment.
Really quick, with mine and Shalea's experience. So Shalea is our program and research director, who's kind of spearheading on the staff side for our Jelly group. We have talked about how we're going to engage girls, specifically kind of talking a little bit to Connie's question too. These girls are also in school. And in the past, we have worked with Jean Fox, who was a school committee woman and was able to get her district to cover the day as a field trip. So with more time leading up to Jelly, we have time to coordinate things like that and make the request of the various school districts across the state. So there's that. And then the second part to your question about commissioners assigned to young ladies, I'm going to stress that we really work with our girl serving organizations, because with minors, it is a little tricky. And responsibilities and liabilities, I would feel more comfortable as the head of an organization to work with those girl serving organizations who already have relationships with girls and would be essentially responsible for those girls. So whatever girl serving organizations are within your regions, we would couple you up with them. That's just a really kind of high level brainstorming thinking of how things are going to be, but we are going to be working on those type of logistics in the next few weeks. As we get our Jelly settled, then we'll be able to shift focus on advocacy day, because we do have the two components with the women and then the young ladies joining us.
Right.
I hope that's helpful.
Yeah, hopefully that is helpful. And Jackie, I can say from last year's Jelly, now that was virtual. So the last two Jellies, they were virtual, but we did have kind of a permission slip. So that's all part of that process. Because Shaitia is right. Anybody that's under the age of 18, we do have to get some permission to include them in the programming. But the intention, and again, I don't want to speak for Shalea West, who is kind of overseeing our Jelly program, but the intention, we've been having conversations about legislative teaching our young girls, female identifying youth, about advocating for themselves and also on issues like the Athena Council has done so well up in Metro West. And so those are the types of experiences we want to help create. And so more information coming soon. But Jackie, I would love, maybe you and I can talk about this. It sounds like you might have a little bit of interest. So we'll talk, and maybe Hampden County can tag off, because we do have some of our commissions with our Jelly Point people that they're giving us two. That way they're kind of tagging off coming to the meetings. So we'll talk. Why don't you and I just have a conversation?
Sure. I was going to say that I did a lot of lobby days, like the logistical stuff in New York. And I did one lobby day here in Massachusetts. So I could surely help with that as well.
Yeah, that would be terrific. And Shanique, between you and Shanique, both of you have very strong legislative experience. So let's the three of us talk, and maybe between the two of you can tag off, because both of you have a lot to bring to the table. Yeah, thank you for that. Any other questions? Connie, did we get your questions answered? Yes. That is our intention, Connie, because we're excited about being back in person this year for Advocacy Day. And as Shaitia said, it's still very early, but we're hoping to make it a field trip for our young girls, but there's a whole lot of logistical stuff we've got to do with the schools. So that is part of hopefully the idea that we're thinking about. Yeah. So Advocacy Day is May 24th. That was a date we got out ahead of time, which was wonderful because oh, and Jackie, real quickly, we did have a virtual Advocacy Day, maybe 2021. So the state did host a virtual Advocacy Day, but it's the first time we've been back in person in a while. The next item is regional grant reimbursements. I know a lot of you are probably getting back into that cycle of, where you're doing your events and you're submitting. So I just wanted to make sure that as you're sending your documents, for those of you who had grants before, like maybe last year, we should already have you in our system. So it'll be an easier, smoother process. But if you've never submitted for reimbursement, I would encourage you to go ahead and do two things. And one is to do the W-9 that I gave everybody in a packet, and I can send that out again, and the EFT form, which is the electronic funds transfer. Because if we can get that piece done, then when you go to submit for your reimbursements, it'll happen a little bit quicker. So just wanted to kind of give you a heads up there. And as a reminder, for those of you at the regional convening last week, you can submit for your mileage. I know I sent an email out about that. So make sure, if you haven't done that already, please do submit. Any questions at all about items under the announcements? All right, so
EFT and W-9, right?
Yes. Yep. And that way we can get you set up in the system. And we do have a nice, a secure address that goes right to our finance director. So she's the only one that sees items coming in there. So we've tried to make it nice and safe and secure for all of you.
You said EFT and W-9. My thing is that you have a Southern twang and you speak really fast.
So EFT, electronic funds transfer.
Okay.
And a W-9. Let me just
taking notes. I'm taking notes. That's why.
Yep. Why don't I just put it here in the chat? So W-9. Yep. And then EFT form. So these are your two items. And I did email that to you. And if you need me to send it again, I'm happy to do so. Yep.
Tina.
Yes, Marsha.
So I filled both of those documents out and scanned them and sent them to the email address. And who knows where they went, because I did not get any kind of a confirmation. Could we do that? Could we get a confirmation?
Absolutely. Good request. I'm going to make a note. I do know, Marsha, that yours was received because I got copied. Linda, did you get
I did. I sent my request in and I got an email received.
Okay. So Marsha, I will make sure that everybody is acknowledged. I can tell you yours was received. Yes.
Okay, thanks.
Yep, no problem. Thank you. Anybody else? All right, let's move into regional chair check-ins. And I just want to take just 2 minutes with everybody here. Just let us know, what do you got coming up in the next 2 or 3 months? And do you need any support from me, from the state, our state office staff, or each other? So if there's anything we can do to help you, just include that in your report. Julie, we're going to start with you. And if you could introduce yourself, because you just had a leadership change.
Hi, I'm Julie Watt-Fakir, and I'm the incoming vice chair of the Metro West Commission. We are going to be hosting the first of our communities, TEAS, where we are going into the communities at various places to meet with people where they are. And the first one is going to be in January. I don't know the date yet. And we're going to the Islamic Center in Hopkinton to meet with our Muslim sisters. And then in March, the next event that we have planned is one that I'm working on. It's going to be about caregiving along the spectrum, all the way from children to elders, and Senate President Karen Spilka is going to be one of our panelists at that event. It's on March 29th. And we'll of course get you information, Tina, when we have more details pinned down on that. I know that it's going to be held at Holliston City Hall the evening of March 29th.
Excellent. And that sounds like a fabulous event, Julie.
And that's our updates for the next few months.
Wonderful. Thank you so much, Julie. That sounds fabulous. And I know that Ellen is probably already on it. We really do want to include and promote your events as much as we can. So Julie, we'll make sure we get you and Ellen connected so we can get that out to our social media, in our newsletter, all of that good stuff. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah. Linda?
Well, nothing new since a week ago at the convening, but we are having our newly elected Rep Flanagan come to our December meeting to chat with us. And in January, we hope to have our new county sheriff, Donna Buckley, come for the same thing. We have new legislators or someone who elected officials. They'll just come and chat with us and make a connection.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Linda. I'll have to pop into those meetings. Thank you so much. All right, Connie.
Okay, good evening, everyone. So Upper Middlesex Commission on the Status of Women. So we just sent an email letter to welcome our Athena Council new members. We anticipate to have 6, and Christina, our one of our commission members, the youngest one, she's planning in a welcome and orientation meeting the latter half of this month, probably, like, understand that they're all students, so either like right before break or actually during break, ideally. So that's going to happen, and I'm just really trying to look for this. I'm super happy to hear that Metro West is doing this panel, because one of our focus this year is also on caregiving. But for last year we focused a little bit on young, caregivers for the young and early childhood education. And this year our focus is actually on the elderly as well as those who care for them. And some of you may know, but we're working with our speaker from last year, who is on one of the on Newton's Council on Aging, and she has also a private practice and she's a researcher. So there's a survey that we are sending, and I know Tina and the state commission has sent it out. So that collects information about how people are coming and understanding their role or not, the preparation for our caregiving for the elderly and or themselves as people who are aging. So we will share that, and part of the goal, we may have shifted dates, but we will also have a similar town hall on caregiving for the elderly and with the elderly in probably March.
Excellent. And Connie, I want to commend you. I actually watched the on YouTube, I watched your discussion, and I thought you really did a really nice job of taking that panel. You put an intro and an outro to it. I thought that was really, really nicely done. So just wanted to thank you for that.
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, Jackie.
Not much has moved since last week, but I did have a commissioner step down, so that commissioner will have to be replaced. I haven't gotten through the whole booklets that were shared, but I did ask at the convening that the book with all the rules be somewhat put in layman's terms. But since I've looked at the like the rules book, and I think that could also be put in a simpler way. I didn't realize that commissioners can't be out more than 3 times. I don't know if that's annually or in a row. I am getting excited about the jelly programming. I do have a commissioner that I think is extremely passionate about it, but I have not had a one-on-one with with that person to find out if they have time, right? Because then there's the time factor. I don't know how it seems like we went into a pandemic and we're busier than we were before the pandemic happened. I don't understand that, but it seems that way. But you know, sitting in with you know, everyone at the convening was great. I love that. I think, you know, that was phenomenal. Even though it rained like the flood was happening, right? And I'm just looking forward to 2023. What we need support with, I guess, is attendance, and knowing the fact that, you know, certain folks can't be out more than a certain amount of meetings might be helpful. And also like circling back and asking, you know, are you still committed to this? Are you still able to attend? And if not, you should probably open your seat. Because we didn't even have enough commissioners in our last meeting to meet quorum, to make quorum. So this is a little bit concerning for me. You know, and it kind of makes me feel bad because I don't know if, you know, the shifting of leadership, you know, sometimes you lose people when that happens, right? You may gain some, but you lose some. So I think we need support in solidifying that. And if we had the rules basically in layman's terms, then they can be conveyed to the commissioners so they know, because I think with all the changes and through the pandemic, a lot of things have fallen through the cracks, not blaming anyone. It's no one's fault. It's just, I didn't even know a lot of the things that I've been learning in the last few weeks, and I've been on for like a year and a half or so, right? But yeah, I'm looking forward to that, and I'm just really excited about the initiatives that all the different commissions are holding and being part of that, and you know, like collaborating with others.
Excellent. And Jackie, two things, and I appreciate that you're bringing up, because what you're speaking about is onboarding. So, and I know you've just come into your chair position in September. So as I mentioned at the convening, I do intend to offer a new chair training. So we're going to work on that. And then I've got a couple other chairs coming in. I think we'll want to be a part of that. Just one more quick thing I'm just going to say for everybody, because I realize I didn't realize that this wasn't happening on a couple of commissions. So I just want to take this opportunity right now to say it. When you're going through the appointment cycle and you're getting applications, we highly recommend, I don't want to say demand, that might be too strong of a word, but that you interview the people. Because what'd you say?
I said require might be middle ground.
Yeah, require, that's a good word, Jackie, thank you. We're going to require that you interview. I didn't realize, I think we have a couple of regionals that were just reviewing the applications. And so I had heard from a couple of applicants that they never got contacted. So just for everybody's notes, we are going to require, thank you, Jackie, that, because I know most of you are interviewing, but if you're not, we're going to ask you to please start as part of that process. So just make a note of that, please. Thank you. Let's move on to, let's see.
I have a question. Does it matter who interviews?
No, you can decide. Actually, in every single regional commission does it differently. Some commissions have a interview committee that's made up of 2 or 3 commissioners. Other commissions have the entire commission interviewing. So Jackie, why don't I'll reach out to you and let's discuss me coming to your meeting, or maybe you and Shanique and I can get together and talk about your process and how you want to do that.
If I can pipe up here.
Okay.
Marcia, why don't you go ahead and you can give your report. Go ahead.
Okay. So, yeah, my report is that we did, Victoria and I did meet with the group at the Jandon Center at Smith College. Their project for the year is refugees. They have a research group, they have a service group, and I cannot remember what the third group is, but they will, as last year, their project culminates with a hearing of sorts. And last year we were able to get, I believe Mindy Dom was the legislator who came, but we will try to get the legislators to attend that so they can hear what the issues are that those students have discovered and what is they feel it is important, what they'd like the legislators to be addressing. Or in the case last year, Mindy had suggestions and ideas and became a real participant in the presentations. So hopefully that will happen again. And I would like to have a meeting, a hearing with our legislators. I feel that's important, but we will only do it if I get buy-in, and not just buy-in, not just, oh, that's a good idea, but actual action from the entire commission. So hopefully that will happen. There was an interesting article in the Gazette, our local paper, about the Western. We have actually many or most of our regional legislators here are women. And they all, when they won, which was 2 cycles ago, they beat men in all their elections. So that was kind of wonderful. So I really feel like, as I mentioned at the convening, we all have relationships. You know, we should be the shining star of legislative involvement. So, you know, I'm going to be pushing for that again. We have a meeting coming up next week. So far as, you know, people who are want to be commissioners and applications, we have always had applicants attend a meeting, because it's, you know, they might decide that they'd hate to be involved. They might think we're a bunch of duds. They might not want to have anything to do with it. So it's definitely a two-way street. So what we have them do is attend a meeting, and then, you know, we ask them to, after the meeting has done it, and we do work. We don't just talk. We don't only interview them, but it is an interview process. But then we also carry on with our business, so they can see what our business is and what the dynamics of that are. And then we ask them, you know, we kick them out basically, and then we talk amongst ourselves about, you know, if we think they're a good candidate. So that's how we do it. And what was it? I feel like I wanted to pipe up when we were talking about something, and then I didn't. So when the subject comes up again, I'm going to go, hey, wait a minute, that's what that was.
Yeah, you can just raise your hand. That's fine.
Right.
Yeah, I'll come back to you. Yeah.
So that's us.
Thank you so much. Thank you. Let's see. Chantel, would you like to check in?
Nothing really changed with us. My internet's shoddy, that's why the camera's off. We're still doing the same things, a lot of research for our new members and things like that, so they can get familiar with what has happened and what we want to do moving forward. So it's pretty much the same as at the convening at the YW.
All right, thank you very much. Let's move to Amanda.
Good evening. Just like everyone else, pretty much not much has changed since the convening. One thing, we've got our working groups are now up and running, so hopefully that will help us to kind of disperse workload, and also hopefully because people got to choose which working group they were in, so hopefully right people are inspired to be active in those particular groups. Yes.
Thank you very much. And let's go to Stephanie, Tanya. Don't know which of you want to check in.
I'll start. I'm driving. I had an overlapper meeting. This is Stephanie. I'm going to begin with, we are pretty much where we were last week at the convening, but we have delayed our networking end of year networking event to the last week of December. We're still in the planning process of it. I'm transitioning out, and Tanya's transitioning in as chair. So I'm going to now let her finish the second half of this update so she can tell you what she's planning for January as I become a support to her. And I will continue to be in the Jelly Planning Committee. So I'm going to stay around and linger for that and assist Tanya for whatever she needs in working groups. So Tanya, I'm passing the torch to you officially right now.
Thank you, Stephanie. Okay, so she spoke about the event that we have coming up that we have pushed to the end of the week. At the end of the month. In January, what we hope to do is sit down with, most of us are all new in this commission, and we hope to get together to find out what everybody kind of wants to do. I know that there's a girls initiative that we have been talking about for Bristol County, and we work closely with a lot of girls like Girls Inc. and Women's Alliance and other, the YW and other things. So we're hoping to get feedback on how, we can best do this over here in Bristol County. I know that it's kind of been a quiet commission for a while, and Loudmouth Stephanie has brought it to the fore with a lot of different things that we've been working on. My only concern, which I was going to say something earlier, but figured I'd wait, is when Jackie was talking about the fact that with the new commissioners coming in, we have, some concerns as far as some overlapping others that were voted on with higher rankings, I guess you can say, versus the ones that are coming in. So what I'm most afraid of is all of the traction that we've currently now had. Some people have already kind of stepped down. And that's what scares me every single time, is that the minute we get some kind of traction based off of new people coming in, other people leaving, then we have to keep rolling things in. And then our work really kind of halts because people don't want to be involved. So I just would need some more support, and for you, Tina, to help me with that, because I really don't know how it works. And I guess I would suggest, and again, I don't really know, like Jackie, I'm coming in, I'm trying to read and learn as much as possible, but I think a way, since we're interviewing and we're scoring and we're doing all of the stuff that we're doing, that if we feel that we're working with a set of women that we can really work and run and do the work, then we should be able to have some kind of say on who comes onto our commission, because then what happens is exactly what's happening now, where people start falling off because they feel like they can't work, and then it just becomes a dead commission again. And so I don't know if anybody else has that issue, but I know that that's currently what's going on here. And so I'm a little bit concerned, as now, like Stephanie said, I'm coming in. So I know that we are definitely working with our state representative, Carol Doherty, because she is really passionate about girls and women and anything that she can do to help. So we're working on putting some events together there. And in Taunton itself, we usually have a women's group that works around certain things. And one of our new commissioners is on that women's group. So we're hoping to get somebody from there to come and talk to us. So there's a lot of things in the works for next year. We're going to have, a planning meeting and put things on a calendar and try to be as, proactive and cohesive as possible. But at the moment, it's kind of just three of us that are really doing the work. And it's a little bit overwhelming because, most times between 5 to 10 hours is what they say on a commission for the month. And we're putting in way more than that. It's kind of become a job. So again, like I said, Tina, maybe, we can talk about that and you can give me some pointers, and I can go into a little bit more details there on what we can do.
Okay. Yes, let's do that, Tanya. You and I and Stephanie, if she wants to be a part of it, let's get together and have a conversation. And certainly that chair's training that I'm going to put together is going to help you and Jackie and anybody else that wants to be a part of it. So I'll circle back around to you, Tanya. I'll follow up with you and we'll schedule something.
Thank you,
Thank
Tina.
you. Yeah, thank you for that. Carolyn?
Hi, not too many updates, just that we finally came around to make our recommendations based upon the ranking sheets. I submitted the summary recommendation paragraph. We only had 3 commissioners that were able to fill out the ranking sheet. So we did the best we could, and we submitted the information, and luckily both candidates are stellar. So we're happy with that. We hope to have an almost, not quite, because we're losing, okay, we have 3 vacancies, but we're losing 2 and we're gaining 2. So we'll still have 3 vacancies. So it's rough.
Yeah, we'll work with that too.
Yeah, and that's our only update. We do have on the horizon a legislative tea, and hoping to be able to have that in person, but we don't know what the winter is going to look like. Hopefully everybody will get their boosters and all. So.
Okay, thank you, Carolyn. Marcia, I see your hand, but I'm just going to hold on you for just a minute and let Augur do her check-in. So Augur, go ahead.
Hi, sorry about that. Hi, ladies. So we have our meeting coming up on Thursday. And we also are excited because we're welcoming one of our young guests ever commissioners. Her name is Chelsea Kamwene, and she is amazing. Tina, I'm sure you kind of know. She's incredible. We're excited. She's really, really young. She's in the mental health space, and we cannot wait for the wealth of resources that she will be bringing. Ours is already a fully functional commission. We have no complaints. Come January, in fact, this Thursday, we have Jenny Amini joining us. She's one of our newest legislators from Essex County. The goal is to have a legislative meet and greet in early January. As everyone knows, the public hearing is also by the mass, Tina, I was going to check in to see if you succeeded with the space, but yeah. So we have that. We typically start off the year with self-care. So we will brainstorm on Thursday whether or not we want to start off the year with self-care. We usually recommend that because I don't know, I can't speak for everyone else, but I'm getting to that place where my brain is like almost exploding. And I feel like there's needs to kind of decompress, and perhaps we will brainstorm on whether or not we will start off the year with self-care. So legislative meet and greet is definitely in the horizon for either late January or February, is part of what we're going to be covering on Thursday. February is almost always Black History, and we have a series of speakers that we usually get for February Black History. Our Ginsburg Initiative, they've done their first meeting. They're jumping into, we can't wait to kind of see what it is. And since the theme for this year, both on the state level and on local level, is advocacy, 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 perhaps we can make suggestions to them about getting into really the advocacy space and doing what they can for the girls in Essex County. So that is pretty much where we're at. And on Thursday, we should be able to solidify the plans. Yes, thank you.
Thank you very much. So just, and Marcia, I'm going to get your question. And I also I'm mindful that Shaitia and Ellen are here to talk about branding. So let me just give a couple of quick announcements. Augur, thank you for that reminder. So the next state hearing is in Lynn in Essex County, and that is January 19th. And Augur, to answer your question, we're trying to solidify one of 3 spaces. We hope to get that narrowed down this week. And thank you for the connection you made this week. So I appreciate that. Yeah, Shaitia just dropped the date and the time in the chat. It is going to be a hybrid hearing. So anybody's welcome certainly to join, but it will be focused up on the upper part of the Commonwealth in Essex County. And anyway, Marcia, I'm going to take your comment and then we're going to move into Shaitia and Ellen's presentation. So go ahead, Marcia.
I just needed to clarify something because I know you and I had conversations when we were considering our applicants, and I'm sure I didn't make this up, that you had told me that we could discuss it as a group, and then I could fill out the form. And it sounds, in the past, we had everybody fill out a form. I verified that with my colleague Bonnie. So which is the way to do it?
They are all right, all of them, Marcia. It really does. It just depends on your commission and how you want to do it. I'm just going to speak from Cape and the Islands because that's where I was a commissioner for 6 years. Cape and the Islands has an interview committee of 3 people, and those 3 commissioners interview the candidates. They have a discussion amongst themselves. They write the ranking sheet. They present it to the full commission. The full commission has a discussion and votes it up or down. So every regional commission, you can do it the way that it works for you. Some commissions like to have everybody do a ranking sheet. If that's your preference, that's fine, as long as they're in a timely fashion, which I think is what Carolyn was talking about earlier. As long as everybody can get it back to you, that's helpful. But if they can't get it back to you, then it might be left to you as the chair or the vice chair, or somebody does have to provide it. So that's kind of what I think Carolyn was talking about.
I got it. Thank you.
Okay. Yes. Thank you. So now with that, we're going to talk branding, and I'm going to turn this over to Shaitia and Ellen to lead us through a conversation. So go ahead.
Hello again. We don't have like a pretty presentation for you all right now. We're more into the discovery conversations phase of this project, but to give you a little context, last year, about springtime, let's say, the commission, as you all may already know, was granted supplemental funding of $500,000 on top of our annual operating budget. And we decided that we were going to try to do something that we've never had the opportunity to do because we didn't have the funding. And that is to create a standalone website separate from mass.gov, because we learned mass.gov is not the most user-friendly, and it's also very, very hard to manage and make visually pleasing, if you will. So it just didn't fit what we needed. So I spent most of the summer, and then when Ellen came on, she helped me too with this, looking for agencies that can help us do just that. We landed on a group called Tugboat Consulting, and they have initiated the discovery phase with us this past month, starting in November. We had our first wave of stakeholder meetings with staff, and then we moved into the state commissioners, and now we are on, what is it, phase 3, if you will, talking to our regional commissions. Now, when something I just want to share with this group that really sold me on Tugboat was this group decided to really dive deep into who we are, what we do, how we do it, and they presented an opportunity to us that I think we haven't thought about in a few years. And that is, they noticed all of the regionals, all 11 of our regionals have what they're referring to as badges, and those are your logos. Some commissions use our state logo. Some commissioners saw the opportunity and created their own, and you guys know who you are. And the thing that we were curious to know is, how did these things come about? How come some of them are so different? And then how does that reflect the commissions as they are today? Some of them, as you know, commissions were established at different years throughout the last 25 years. And we want to have a conversation. Do we think it's time to change that? Do we want to refresh it? Do we want to bring everyone to the same page, or does everyone want to still be unique and have their own logo? So that's the purpose of me and Ellen in front of you today. We really want to get your thoughts on regional commission branding, but also as it relates and links to the state commission, because ultimately we're all linked and connected and we're all doing the very same work, just different levels. Some is more locally. You guys are the hands on the ground, the feet on the ground, the tentacles in the community, if you will. And we want to make sure that we are including the regional voices in this huge project. So with that, I'm going to hand it over to my lovely comms marketing director, Ellen.
Hi, everyone. I'm so glad to be with you tonight. I've got a couple things to show you here, and I hope you just all take it as food for thought.
So like Shaitia said, I'm the brand new communications director here at MCSW. And not only is this a relatively new position for us, we've never really had this capacity before, I think it's a time just ripe with opportunity, right? We'll be celebrating our 25th anniversary in the spring. That gives us about a 6-month leadway. Do we consider updated branding? And we've been having some really interesting conversations about the MCSW logo itself. If the gender symbol in the middle is truly as inclusive as it could be, the history and nature of what the purple actually means, purple and white, in terms of our suffragettes. So we're having these sort of big esoteric conversations, and I'm here to drill it down and show you some things, get your feedback, and then truly hope and pray that you fill out this SurveyMonkey link that Tina has shared with you all. We can't go forward without your input, and we're really hoping to sort of close out this phase by the end of December so we can hit the ground running in January with a very exciting branding for the 25th. So I hope you'll walk with me on a little experiment, because I was actually curious about the current lay of the land, and I thought it would be fun to walk us through where all the regional commissions currently sit. So Worcester looks like this. Worcester made its own beautiful state, has their name in it, and we've actually been having conversations about the name itself, whether a word mark or other sort of logo that just encompasses the name is sufficient. But notice the difference in colors. And then I'm actually going to walk us back up alphabetically. So then we'll see Upper Middlesex, who has the purple and yellow, also their name in it, also circular, another conversation we're having. Does it have to be a circle? I'm looking at Plymouth now, who took a screenshot, a lovely screenshot of their profile on the website. And just to share here, each page gets their own, sort of graphic here. And this hasn't been touched in a while. So how would you like to be visually represented? Is this sufficient for you? Is there another, whether it's the state bird or the city flower, is there something else in your area that resonates much more with you? And we can see here that Plymouth has actually used our logo, which is awesome, but this isn't sized correctly. This doesn't represent us in the best light in terms of a branding kit. So I'm really interested not only in getting us an updated visual identity, but really honing in on the sizes that we need and what would actually constitute a kit for you all to have these images sized for your website, for your social media, for your newsletters even, if you were to develop them. The conversations are wide-ranging. Metro West is using our current logo and a kind of cool image here for their cover photo. Hampshire Franklin is one of the few that has created a custom logo. If you're familiar with the Hampshire Franklin region, I think this is the Connecticut River that cuts through the valley, and using our gendered symbol here and their name as well. And I thought this was interesting. They included everyone in their cover photo. Hamden County has used our logo twice. Again, nothing wrong with that. Love it so much, but I think we can do a little sprucing here. Essex has found a pretty cool photo online and just their name, but also a mock-up of us. Eastern Regional using the same colors. Oh my gosh, look at the smiling photo. It makes me so happy to see Commissioner Tuitt and others. Another great cover photo. And Cape Cod is also, I think, one of the few that has their own custom. So you're looking here at the Cape, the name, and the abbreviation. Bristol County leads us to another great photo and a screenshot of their location as well. And then I leave Berkshire for last as a conversation with you all to say that we actually don't know who runs the Berkshire County Facebook page. So in this sort of conversation, we're trying to not only get a handle on our assets, empower you all, give you all the tools that you need to thrive online in whatever capacity, right? Like some folks are very socially savvy, some are not. This is not like a, you must begin posting on Facebook tomorrow kind of conversation. This is like, what would you need to be successful? Do you have an Instagram account? And so I've actually tried to find the owner of the Berkshire Facebook page, namely to remove this B. I would just love to make one tiny edit and just figure out this page as we rebuild it.
May I say something?
Yes, please.
All of that is great, but I did communications for a year and a half. This must be a communications nightmare to you.
Girl, I prefer to call it an opportunity, everybody. We have so much, you all are literally our greatest assets. Like without you all boots on the ground doing the work, I'm here to make your lives and jobs as easy as possible. So
but wouldn't it make sense to have one Facebook, right? And one logo and,
yeah.
The Facebook
Well,
might be a little
and I hope you
confusing.
sound off on like what you want it to look like, right? So if you want something stylized so I'm actually going to move you into a presentation here and show you very quickly. This is the presentation that Tugboat, our consultant, gave to us here at the MCSW. So while we're asking you for your feedback on essentially your places, we are also getting our house in order, right? You heard me mention the 25th, our own branding and refresh. And we've got a pretty limited kit here. We have one logo and 3 colors, and only in the last year or so have we really branched out with Jelly, our heroines, and other exciting programs that might have their own branding. So we're really interested ourselves in getting a handle on this. I'm going to skip by most of this. I want you to know this presentation is available for you all, but at the risk of really starting from scratch here, like, what can a brand do for us? What can uniformity do for us? These are some examples of morphing over time. And these are some examples we're thinking of in terms of you all. What would a lockup look like for regionals? Would it be custom like we see here with Upper Middlesex or even the Cape or something like this? Or is it enough to be together, to have a sort of state logo lockup, more official, but with your own regional branding? And you see here programmatic logos. We're exploring things like this as well for Jelly and some of our, advocacy day and things like that. And you can see here some ideas we're exploring as well for the 25th. Do we change our logo entirely? A lot of the feedback we've gotten is that we actually love the purple, and we are just now beginning to break into the sphere to be known and to be recognized. So maybe we don't get too far away from that. So maybe we incorporate something special into a logo that we're already known for. Either way, this is all just food for thought for you as you fill out your surveys. So this is what we're doing, and I want you to know that this is sort of a long scope tail. We're having this conversation with you now at the very onset. It's been about 30 days so far. We had a full commission meeting, we had a staff input meeting, and now we're opening it here to regionals and also some external stakeholders. Those of you who might remember Jill Ashton and some other key organizations that, what do they think of when they think of the MCSW? What does our logo and branding convey? Authoritative, state bodies, legislative work, that kind of a thing. So we're in our research phase. I'm gonna skip ahead and say how much I really like that she had pulled out our key responsibilities. Literally in the establishing act that created the MCSW, that these are the things we say we will do for women in the Commonwealth, and how can our branding support this? So we want a harmonious color palette. We do love, a lot of our initial survey reactions have said that, more colors would be nice, but the purple is well known. The gender symbol has come up time and time again, so we welcome your thoughts on that. And these are some sort of ways that we want folks to feel. So I offer all of that to you as a way to just get your juices flowing. Let me know how that sits with you. Please fill out the survey. And then as this process goes on, you'll see MCSW launch our 25th logo. And then my branding conversation will begin to turn back to the website. A lot of this is wrapped up for us on our website as well. And then once that's launched, I want to focus solely on the regionals. So I want to have like a series of rollout meetings or trainings, whatever you might need. I envision almost individual brand kits for each of you. So, fonts, logos, you name it, whatever results from this conversation, just know that, MCSW will be here to sort of support you, not only through that launch and rollout, but whatever you might need. Did we go too fast through that, Tina? What do you think?
No, I think it's
fine because we got 4 minutes.
All right. Yeah.
Really quickly, I would say.
Let me just say this too. I mean, anybody is welcome to stay. If you can stay a few minutes, that's fine too. Linda has a question in the chat. Ellen, do an amount. Hold on, it just popped up and then it disappeared. I don't know if you want to read it.
Oh, I'm not.
Oh, actually, no. It was she's asking me a question about
Okay.
something else. Okay, that's fine. Sorry about
I just
that.
dropped the link to the survey into the chat. It's in your agenda as well. Sorry, Jackie.
No. Thank you for that. I'm thinking that it, like, because it's still the same body, at the end of the day, regionals or not, it's still the same body. And if we are doing more collaborative work, it makes sense to me, right? I don't know what anybody else thinks, but this is just me, and anyone is welcome to disagree. It should be the same. Whatever it is, it should be the same logo, right? Because I think it causes confusion. People don't know that that regional belongs to the state body, right?
And the
The other
power we
thing-
hold together. Yeah.
The other thing is the Facebook thing. We should not have no control over a page that's just running around the web, the internet, and nobody knows who is the person in charge of it. So
Especially as a state body. This sort of goes along with
Yeah.
a whole set of security protocols for me.
exactly.
Even as an organization, MCSW is now working on an
Mhm.
operations manual in terms of tone, language, engaging in legislative advocacy, right? There are certain rules that we have to abide by as a state organization. So I hear that loud and clear. I
I
totally agree.
definitely think that it should be all held, with the state body, and then other people can be admins or whatever.
Yeah, I agree.
And not only that, like, some pages may be populated more than others. If it's on one page, right, then it will never be short of some content, because everybody does have day jobs, right? Like, in other commitments, and communications, it's its own job. I respect this here, right? Like, I'm just giving respect due to the
You get me, Jackie.
communications, because people do not know how much work that is. But that's my feedback for now. The purple is lovely, but I really don't know why we use it. To me, it reminds me of domestic violence. Is there a reason we use
Interesting.
purple? I
Suffragettes,
love it, and
purple and
maybe
white
we
was the
should keep it.
color of women getting the vote back in the day.
Can I also
Okay.
just
My last
say
thing.
that another part of the reason why I like the purple, reminding us that we are a bipartisan, bicameral organization. When you have red and blue mixed together, you get purple.
I love purple. I'm not complaining of the color. That's probably the one thing I would keep. As far as the gender symbol, I don't really know what is our policy going forward, right? If there are folks that identify as women, be they are transgender or what have you, I don't know what's the political correct wording for any of that, so I'm not trying to be offensive, but I don't know if having a gender symbol would, like someone mentioned, be inclusive of whoever we are, whoever may want to be part of the commission. I don't know what we're doing with that, right?
No, I appreciate that.
Does that make sense?
Which is honestly part of a larger conversation the MCSW is having. So
Okay.
I appreciate that.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Jackie. Linda, I see your hand up. Go ahead.
How long do we have? Well, a couple questions. How long do we have to fill out this survey?
It says 10 days in there, but I give you till Christmas. Whatever you need, 2 weeks.
Well, it's just that
We're
we're
trying to wrap
having,
it by the end of the year.
our commission is meeting next week, and I'll pose that question to them as to what their druthers are before I fill it out.
That would be great.
Secondly, I know the Cape and Islands is quite happy with their logo. So it'll depend on what my commission thinks about everybody having the same or not. We kind of like our logo. We think it's spiffier, and it's getting more traction here.
Yes,
So
you definitely
that's
are
my
noticed.
opinion.
Yeah. I do
Thank
like
you.
it.
Thank you very much, Linda. Amanda, go ahead.
I have a quick question I guess I'm confused who's supposed to be filling out the survey. Is it just us, or is it all of the regional commissioners? So we share the survey with our.
Any and all. Share
Yes,
it
all.
widely. We of course wanted the
Yep.
co-chairs to see it first, but if you want to share it with your own folks, it is not exclusive by any means. The more the merrier.
Perfect. And then the other thing, right, just as we're talking in about the logo, it just reminds me very much of the women's studies versus gender studies versus women's and gender studies conversations that have happened. And right, and always thinking of if we switch from gender or from women's studies to gender studies, are we losing something? And so just that's what the the ong just made me, that conversation about it just made me think of. So just a little food for thought there.
I've actually encouraged the MCSW. I was like, this conversation is actually above me, and we should have a conversation with a full-on consultant that specializes in these things. What are our guardrails? That is for a full commission meeting to come, for sure.
Thank you. Anybody else comments or questions? Oh, yes, two people have.
Several of you had said
Yes.
and girls. I appreciate that. I love the and girls, the explicit.
Now,
focus.
let me, if I can speak to that real quickly, because this is something that not every regional commission has the enabling language. Although I think if I've understood Meredith to say, it should be under the umbrella, because does the state, Shaitia, does the state Massachusetts Commission on the Status of Women, are we saying girls on the state level? Because I just know that not all regionals have the girls in their enabling language. So we're having a debate on whether that's just assumed, or do we have to have it in our enabling language?
That is something that I also have been under the impression that we would have to have it an updated enabling legislation. So right now, the state commission does not use and girls on the title, but we often include them and it's assumed. But as our name, our official name, no, it does not include girls.
Okay, thank you for that clarification. And I think something else I just wanted to say real quickly is, Stephanie, I don't even think in the mission statement, and I think some of our regionals do not mention girls in their mission statement. So it's something we're going to have to look into, which leads me to this question. But
remember, I just want to remind everybody that when the county commissions were formed, girls was not in it at all. So girls is recently new. So all of the newer commissions have women and girls, but all the ones that were done prior to, I want to say maybe 3 years ago, never had girls in it. That's recent. So that's the reason why everybody doesn't have girls in them.
Okay, thank you for that, Chantel. Because I think Linda asked me a question that made me think about bylaws, Ellen, because I think I'm just kind of thinking also with the regional commission bylaws, because Linda posed a very good question. If a regional commission says we like our logo, what are we planning to do with that? And so I think these are good questions, because these are the things we want from you. We're trying to anticipate how this might roll out, what bumps might we hit. If not every regional buys into something, what happens, I guess, is a bigger question we need to explore.
At the risk of making a crass joke, because I love my healthcare so much, I'll be like, if you like your logo, you can keep your logo. If you like your insurance policy, you can keep it. I think that would just truly be a larger conversation. If it comes to that and everything will change, after all is heard, we would absolutely either work with you or support you or make the exception or whatever sort of you want, right? I'm open to anything.
Okay, thank you for that. Anybody else? And please do share that link. And I apologize, Amanda, if that wasn't clear, but when I sent the link out to all of you, with the intention of please share it with your commissioners, because we do want as much feedback, because I also know that several of you have PR experts and marketing experts on your regional commissions. And we especially want to hear from them if they've got some thoughts on this. So please make sure you can share that link, and we'd like their feedback. Stephanie says, okay, yes. Yes, Stephanie, I think I have to go back and look, but I do know that not everybody's bylaws and enabling language is the same as it relates to girls. I do know that, but then Chantel was reminding us of why. So okay. Yes, Marcia, you do a good job. Anybody else comments or questions regarding branding at this stage? All right, and Connie said, yeah, there's a couple of comments here, Ellen. I just want to make sure you grab.
I've actually copied and pasted every one of these comments. Thank you so much. Perfect. I do still would love you to take the survey. It would be much easier, but everything that you put into the chat, I have captured, and I've just linked the full presentation if you want to read it at your leisure. Let me know.
All right, great. All right, well, if anybody, no other.
I have one question, because
go ahead, Jackie.
I just am that person.
Go ahead.
The Survey Monkey, I just remember by looking at this link and copying it to paste it to my notes so I can share with the commission. I'm wondering if there's a Survey Monkey survey that we can create to collect everyone's name, address, phone number, etc.
Remember, there's Google Docs for that, and it's free. Just remember that. Google
Wait,
Docs is
wait.
one
I
you
don't
can do
have,
that for
I
free.
don't have no qualms of I don't have no qualms of creating a Google form. My thing is that I asked Ellen, I don't want to step on anybody's toes, right? And I don't know, for branding's sakes, right? Like, you know, if you send a Google form, you got to have a logo. I don't have any of that. I don't even know where
So-
to find any of that, but
So Jackie, and I think this was shared probably back in September, maybe Shanique was at that meeting, but we did talk, we do have access to Survey Monkey. And
that's what
any
I'm
of the,
saying.
yeah, any of the regional commissions, I don't know, I'm hoping some of you that were in September, October, and I can put that on a reminder, but we do have a bigger Survey Monkey account, and each regional commission has access to their own account if you want to use it. And I know Shanique was there because I remember her making a couple of comments about how she
No,
preferred.
that's
yeah.
great. I'm just looking for you, like, something that could be sent to everybody so other commissions are not creating their own, right? Because I think that's what causes all this confusion, everybody having the ability to do their own thing. And not only that, they're just not, people are not doing double work. You know what I mean? I'm just trying to be like efficient.
I think
But
Shai is about to make your day.
I'm gonna explode over here. Okay, so we over the summer we got a enterprise account with SurveyMonkey, so all of the 11 regionals can be housed nicely underneath our umbrella account at the state level. But with that function, we're able to create forms and then share it with all of the user account. They're called power users underneath our account. So if Hamden
Awesome.
County and Cape and Islands want a template of a survey that we've done, we can just easily share it. So we can share any of the templates that we have, and vice versa. If, say, Jackie, you create a template in Hamden County and you want to give it to the state so that we can share it with the sisters, we can totally do that. So I'm going to encourage all of the chairs to take a peek at SurveyMonkey. And if you're interested in opening and testing things out, please let me know. I'd be happy to set you up with a power user account.
And not only that,
think
Jackie,
you
I
just
think we're
said-
also in conversations for the new year to have a larger, more comprehensive survey of demographic information, right? Like if we're talking about Veterans Day, I would love to know which of you have veterans affiliations. If I could, you know, these monthly letters we're putting from Shaitia at the top of the newsletter, Tina and I have been in conversation about maybe doing a regional spotlight or a guest letter. You know, what topics or concepts are you all experts on? So getting to know more information from you guys is also definitely on the docket.
Yeah, thank you. Oh, Connie dropped off. Okay, go ahead.
I was going to say, I wanted to, just because what Connie said made me think about something you and I, Tina, talked about over the summer, and that is state email. So I know almost all of you have your own commission email. Typically they're Gmail accounts with your commission name, but we have the ability to create shared inboxes. So again, it would be something that would be kind of overseen and easily managed by the state if we had to, but I can set it up. It would say, you know, CCICSW@mass.gov, and then forward all those emails straight to the chair or straight to the secretary or even straight to that Gmail account. But it's a uniform mass email that you all can use on all your materials, and it'll never change. If you get locked out, I mean, if you get locked out of your Gmail, you can't really get back into it unless you have a system. But if somebody were to, you know, disappear or ghost, we can take that control back and then shift the forward to the appropriate person. So that option is also out there too. But I would like to either do it for all or none. So if the group here decides that that's something that they would be interested in, I'm happy to have another conversation and we can explore it a little further, but I just want to put that out as an offer on the table. But again, I would like all 11 to have them or none, because then it'll just get kind of difficult to watch.
One quick thing on the social media, because a couple of you brought this up. In the because some of you have really good transition plans in your leadership. So when one chair passes to the next chair, but I also want to be honest and say that some of you don't have a good transition because there's a lot of balls being dropped. I think sometimes, particularly when a chair moves off the commission completely, like they've termed out, they've moved on, and maybe the new chair doesn't get everything. So Ellen, I don't know if this is something we can put on our list, but I think it was to Jackie or somebody's question with Facebook pages. Like when we lose control of a Facebook page, like with what's happening at Berkshire County, we have no idea, honestly, guys, that we have, or gals, we have no idea who was running that before Berkshire County kind of disbanded for a bit of time. So it makes it really difficult for Ellen and myself to figure out who's running the page. So we need to kind of be thinking through some systems on what makes sense so that we don't lose the transition of all of those things, so that people aren't recreating Facebook and Instagram and all that pages. So these are things, again, on a bigger marketing and branding umbrella, just logistical things. So if you think of those types of thoughts, please let us know. And yes, we're getting here to the end. Any final comments or questions, anyone? All right, I think we've gotten some good feedback. I want to thank you very much for your time. We will end here at 8:13. If any of you have some questions and you want to hang out, I will stop the recording and hang out till 8:30 if you have anything you want to just check in with me about. But for everyone else, have a lovely evening. Thank you.
Everyone.
Bye.